Greetings of the day. This is Ms. Tabasum. I hope you all are doing well. As you know that I have already started with the topic that is A Girl's Incredible Journey from Syria by Nujeen Mustafa. In my previous lecture, I have talked about the author Nujeen Mustafa and also the main characters of the story, and also I have justified the title. There we have seen that how Nujeen Mustafa, a girl with cerebral palsy, and her full family members were fleeing from the country due to the Syrian war that began in 2011. There we have seen Nujeen along with 37 other family members came near the sea. They hired a small boat of grey color. There, all the 38 members got accommodated. As you know that Nujeen was suffering from cerebral palsy, which is basically a congenital disorder of muscle movement. She was unable to walk, and thus she was confined to a wheelchair. So they boarded on the small boat and started their journey towards an island. While moving there, Nujeen was feeling as if she was like 6 years old, although she was 16 years old. This excitement did not seem quite natural to Nasreen, that is Nujeen's elder sister. And as a result of that, she asked Nujeen to be patient and not to be afraid. So that was all about yesterday's lecture, and today we will be proceeding towards the story. So let's get started. So here we will be reading the further stories, and here it goes. I did my deep breathing from brain games and looked around the boat at everyone. We were all spaced out from 2 days with little sleep, then being in the hot sun with nothing to drink. My 3 cousins, whose mother and father had been shot, were sad and quiet. As you know that Nujeen and other members were on the boat travelling to move towards an island, and they were fleeing from their own homeland. Nasreen, that is Nujeen's elder sister, asked her if she was afraid. Nujeen replied that she was not afraid, rather she was excited. Nasreen yet make out that she was actually terrified. This Nujeen knew herself too. So, just to calm her brain, she took a deep breath. And this breathing exercise she learned from Brain Games, which is basically an American popular science television series. This popular TV show explores cognitive psychological experiments and counterintuitive thinking. This series debuted in the National Geographic Channel in 2011. After doing the breathing exercise, she started looking around the boat at everyone. All the people in the boat were exhausted because they had been travelling since last 2 days, and as they were too worried and tense, they had very little sleep. And as they were under the scorching sun with no food or drinks, they were completely exhausted. Nujeen's 3 cousins, who were also on the boat, were very sad and quiet because their parents had been shot dead. Many people had closed their eyes and were praying. Nasreen was crouching on the floor, trying to hold my chair still. Our elder sister, Nahda, didn't look at the sea. Her baby and the 3 little girls were all crying, and she was focused on calming them. As you have seen in the earlier paragraph that after doing the breathing exercise, she looked at everyone on the boat. Now what she noticed is that many people in the boat had closed their eyes and they were praying to the Almighty so that they could reach the island safely. Nasreen was squatting on the floor of the boat because she was trying to hold Nujeen's wheelchair in a still position. Nasreen and Nujeen's elder sister, Nahda, she had a baby and 3 daughters. The 4 of them were all crying, and Nahda was trying to pacify them. As a result of that, she didn't look at the sea. She was stressed because she had decided to take her children out of the poison environment of war to somewhere they could get on with life, go to school. But now it seemed like a big responsibility for a 33-year-old alone, and she wondered what she had done. Nujeen and Nasreen's elder sister has decided to take her children out of that war-like situation so that these children could get on with normal life and go to school and had basic education. But Nahda was stressed because she really did not know how to bring up these 4 children being alone, and she was wondering about what she had done. Uncle Ahmed was all furrowed, trying to drive the boat. He had spent the last 2 days in the hotel in Izmir studying YouTube videos on how to do it. Uncle Ahmed was rowing the boat, and he too had the lines of worry on his forehead. Uncle Ahmed did not know rowing, but he had learned rowing by studying YouTube videos. While he was staying at a hotel in Izmir, Izmir is a city in Turkey. At the start, he gunned the engine too much and we shot forward, then zigzagged a bit as he tried to correct the course. As you know that Uncle Ahmed did not know rowing or boating. He had learned just 2 days back, that also from YouTube lessons. So, while he was about to start, he gunned the engine too much, and as a result of that, they all were thrown forward while he was trying to correct the course of the boat. "Look out!" shouted Aunt Shireen as we bumped right into a wave, crouching, and water came over the sides. The sea was much less calm than it had looked earlier in the day. Aunt Shireen exclaimed to look out, and then they saw that a big wave was coming towards their boat, and the wave hit into the boat and water came inside it. Though on that particular day the sea looked much calm than it was earlier in the day. To start with, it was nice to feel the spray after being in the hot sun all day. Finally, my Young Forever Love t-shirt had worn for days was getting a wash. But as waved pitched us up and down, some of my cousins started retching. Others were crying and screaming, "Oh God!" As the water splashed by the huge waves, Nujeen felt very nice because after being under the scorching sun, with the splash of the water, she felt as if she had a shower. But as the waves were getting up and down, some of the cousins of Nujeen, they started making sounds as if they were about to vomit, but not actually vomiting, while the others were crying and screaming in utter despair and helplessness. They were actually praying to the Almighty to render them help. At one point, a wave tossed us right to one side and my aunt lost her bag with all her valuables. We seemed very low in the water. My cousins used their shoes to scoop water out of the dinghy. Sometimes people throw things off, but we didn't have much. We should never have brought the wheelchair, said Mahmoud. As we have seen in the earlier paragraph that a huge waves came and hit their small boat, and as a result of that, some water went inside the small boat. Another wave again hit on the right side, and Aunt Shireen was carrying some valuables with her, and that bag of all valuables got into the water. They were very helpless in the water. That means they seemed very helpless in the boat. Nujeen's cousin used their shoes to take out water from the small boat. As you know that the boat was very small, yet 38 people were there, though on the box it was written 15 max. So they thought that maybe it happened because it was getting overweight. So they tried throwing things off to the sea. But Nujeen and her family didn't have much things, so they didn't throw anything. Now Mahmoud, one of the cousins of Nujeen, was blaming about the wheelchair. He repented that they should never have brought the wheelchair because it was actually increasing the weight in the boat. Now, let's do an exercise. Complete the sentences with the correct words from the text. Nujeen, along with other people, travelled in a dash. They travelled in a dinghy or a small boat. Second, Dash was the one who knew the outside world and Nujeen took all her cues on how to react from her, Nasreen. Third, Nujeen's elder sister Nahda had 4 children. Fourth, Uncle Ahmed spent the last 2 days in a hotel in Izmir. Fifth, Uncle Ahmed had learned to drive the boat from YouTube videos. Number 6. Nujeen thought of herself as Poseidon, the god of the sea in Greek mythology. 7th, 3 boats had left the shores of Syria along with Nujeen's. 8th, Abdullah stayed in water for 3 hours searching for his children. 9th, Ghalib, the son of Abdullah Kurdi and Rehana, was 5 years old. Number 10. After landing in Lesbos, Nujeen spoke English to a real English speaker for the first time. That's all for the day. We'll be continuing the remaining part of the story in the next lecture. Thank you. Have a great day ahead.